if you're engaged in a fraud of any kind, you're always thinking about it, right? Because it sort of gnaws at your consciousness and it's sort of omnipresent in your thinking. And eventually that thinking sort of spills out and then you project onto someone you're dealing with, right? You imagine they're exactly like you and they're doing what you're thinking about doing to them. And that's sort of the same dynamic with what our democracy at risk is at risk people crowd is saying. So I don't know. It feels like an insight, and it seems to all make sense now. Like things make sense, but it had to come at the expense of some very painful lessons.
So here's something that I experienced with profound humiliation. So profound that it essentially sends me into shock. That it compounds upon past humiliations. That I immediately go back to other humiliations, and it's like they get thrown into a whole maelstrom of humiliations, and I feel like I'm in a dryer, and I'm being tumbled around by all these humiliations. That like the latest one builds upon all previous humiliations.
Yeah. So if there's multiple instances in your life,
Yeah.
it makes it seem like that's the only story in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just chapter by chapter, you're just repeating the same old chapter, and that it's your destiny because you haven't, it's like fated. And that when I get into that state of mind, it's really hard to interrupt. And I got into that state of mind, and I'm like, how can this happen to me? I really try to be like straightforward, upright, and honest in all my dealings and things. And then this happens, it's just not fair. And so then I'll say, well, the world, excuse me, the world is ultimately just, and it'll all come out in the wash, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do about it because God will take care of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is sort of another kind of delusion, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have this, I've done so well by my sort of optimistic spirit
Mm-hmm.
that I misapply that optimism in places where cynicism is more appropriate.